What's up, you guys? Alex Pulowski here for the Fightful Wrestle podcast. I am here with maybe a bit of a love connection here, at least a green card connection. Jeff Hawkins and Anna Bauert are here, my guests, to go over NXT Takeover San Antonio, the one with the cattle skull as the logo. By the way, I do love that logo. So, Jeff, how are you doing?
Doing great. The future ex Mrs. Hawkins is on here with us.
Yes.
Aiming high.
No, you know what? It's very. I'm very, very pleased to be here because I was one of those people who was kind of downplaying how good this NXT Takeover might be and thinking it might be the first in a disappointment. While there were no great matches on here, there was a lot of very, very good ones. So I'm more than happy to talk about this card.
Anna, I saw some of the things you're tweeting out. It seems to me that you might disagree with your future husband and say that there were many great matches on the card, including a segment that I believe you'd like to marry before you marry Jeff Hawkins.
Yeah, well, first of all, Jeff, nice to meet you, and I'm glad that divorce is aiming high.
For me, it is.
I love you. Well, that's why I love you. So there were two segments. Well, segment and a match that have been added to the marry list. Legitimately, yeah, I would like to propose to. I don't even know how this works logistically, but can we do this?
Yeah.
Oh my God, it was so good.
We'll get to it. I'll definitely officiate the ceremony for you. I will ordain myself as a minister of a religion that I make up on the spot. And I'm sure that's how it works. And anyway, let's
I'm being cuckolded on my own show right now. You know.
Let's get right into the festivities. It starts out with Ty Dillinger coming out to a huge pop. Everyone loves old Ty. And then, which is interesting that they started to have out the first entrance of this first match with a big pop, and then to bring it way down because everybody hates Sanity. So they get in the ring. And my first question for both of you is, what do you think of the rechristening of the Beast of Belfast, Big Damo, as Killian Dane? Jeff?
Well, for me, I think there's a logistical issue in there in that they've already been putting him over as Big Damo on television already. And then all of a sudden they make the name change. You know what? They've done a good job so far. I think, look, I don't want anything like the one-man gang turning into Akeem the African Dream in any way. But I don't mind the name. I just think it's a little bit clunky to all of a sudden, a couple weeks in, just decide, well, we're just going to change your name with absolutely no explanation, even though we've been saying it on TV.
Yeah, I agree. I actually kind of like the name in a vacuum.
I do too.
As an idea, as a thought. But if you've already been calling him, oh my God, that's Big Damo. They should have called him Killian Dame and then said that Big Damo was short for Killian Dame. I don't know. But Anna, are you as down with Killian Dame as I am?
Look, I would be happy with anything that they do as long as they turn up the viciousness on this group. Like right now, they're kind of a fun, crazy, but I want to see, and I'm a vegetarian as I say this, I want to see like bats' heads being bitten off and like chickens being slaughtered in the middle of the ring. Like that's, to sell this group, you need to go that far. Make it real, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Anyway,
I have hope.
Yeah, me too. I do love Sanity. I think they have a lot of potential. Certainly more with Killian Dane than Sawyer Fulton, who
definitely,
unfortunately, you never like to see like a guy get taken out of a storyline because of an injury. I guess he hurt his biceps. But I do think Killian Dane, Big Damo, is a big upgrade. Anyway, the match, I really like the match. I love all of Ty Dillinger's matches. Unfortunately, it ended like most of his matches do, with poor old Ty Dillinger taking the pinfall. But this time, it was because of that damn numbers game. I actually want to see a heel faction in NXT or somewhere else that refers to themselves as DNG. And then when somebody asks, what does that stand for? It's like the damned numbers game, because that's how heel factions work. They just take you over with the damn numbers game. Jeff, what did you think of old Ty going out like a chump?
Here's my only issue, because I don't mind the time-honored tradition in professional wrestling that when you wrestle your last match in a territory, you end up losing and you go on. My issue is in this new paradigm of the WWE and how they're doing business, and they're pushing subscribers towards watching these types of events for new subscribers and subscribing for them. I don't think you should beat Ty Dillinger on Saturday and then debut him in the Rumble on Sunday, because I think then people get a negative view of him and going, well, he's that geek that we saw get beat last night by Eric Young. He's not going to be any good here. I think it's more of a negative than a positive in that way. I'm fine with either way this match had gone, because Eric Young's the guy you bring in to be the spokesperson and to be the guy who can be beat in Sanity. I would have had no issue if Eric Young had lost here. I don't really have an issue with Ty Dillinger getting beat here either, because I don't see the ceiling as high for him as some people do. I think he's a very good hand. I think he's done a lot of time. I think he's probably going to have about a 2-year run on the main roster, and he's probably going to get released after that.
Yeah. Anna, what do you think about Ty losing here?
I disagree I understand where you're coming from with people who aren't as familiar with NXT tuning in and seeing this and seeing him lose. But that's kind of how it goes nowadays. I think my issue is more he is always losing, especially on these shows. And it does make him the perfect underdog, and it does make him, I think he is like dictionary definition of perfect babyface. But it is at that point, like, where are you going to go with him now? Like, you have to debut him, or what is, like, you turn him? Well, no. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree with a lot of what both are saying. I think his ceiling isn't super high on the main roster, but he could have a really fun underdog 1-month run with the Intercontinental title before a heel takes it from him. And it's that kind of a thing. You could do that. I think that's like the absolute ceiling, but he could be a fan favorite the whole way through. With this, the one thing that I was thinking was Ty losing here, maybe he doesn't move up. Only because they have a ready-made champion, which we'll get to later, for him to chase and do a true underdog story. If he can get one back and beat Sanity, let's say they pump it up as like the rematch, it's a cage match. It's just him and Eric Young in Full Sail, and he beats Eric Young, and then Rude says, big deal, I beat you twice. And we have Dillinger try and do the thing where he maybe is the one to take the title off of Rude. I mean, there's a lot of things they could do here. I honestly think the thing that's least likely is him debuting in the Rumble at number 10, because I think they love to fuck with us. So
after you put it like that, I'm more than happy if that doesn't happen, because I want to see that. Like that, my heart is racing. I want to see that.
Yeah.
That's actually would be a good story if they could build that. And I think there were a lot of programs here tonight that suffered from a lack of a build of story. And that's a good story that they could build right there. What was I going to say here? I forgot what I was going to say. I was about to blank. I was about to make a very good point. I couldn't remember it about Ty Dillinger. Oh, I know what I was going to say. When you brought up the numbers game, they need more consistency in their officiating in terms of when they're throwing people out who are kind of interfering and when they're not, for that cheer spot. Because these guys got in the very ring and they still weren't thrown out of during the match.
I liken it to murder and attempted murder. It was interference and attempted interference. They didn't actually get through with it. It was a self-defense that was able to thwart the attempted interference. And I think there's a fine line between interference and attempted interference.
No, that's the least of my worries. I think, though, you have a very good idea, though, if they're going to end up – and you know what? They may end up bringing up Shinsuke tomorrow, for God's sakes, for all we know. So
that's what I was thinking, is that everyone expects Ty Dillinger to debut at number 10. And when everyone expects something, they like to say, well, we had that idea too, but then you had the idea, so we're not doing that anymore. They like to do that with stuff like this. What I would love if he actually does debut in the Rumble is to debut him at number 11. Like to really play with your emotions. And
you're the worst.
Listen, they're not going to do it at number 10. I don't think they are. I think they're not doing it. So if they
Can they just give us this one thing? Have Roman, fine. Just give us this one thing.
I want them to do it. I just don't think they're going to do it.
I don't, and I'll tell you why. Because that NXT crowd is 7,000 people. That Alamo Dome is 5 to 6 more times that. You're going to not get the pop that you think you're going to get, I don't think, by debuting him at number 10. It's too clever for the room, so to speak, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you. My hope is that, when instead of counting down 10, 9, 8, all the way to the next entrant for number 10, the crowd just chants 10,
10,
10, 10. And then, that would be great. But they're not going to do that, and they're not going to debut him then either. So my hope then is that they keep him here and build a really good feud leading up toward the Mania takeover in Orlando, which is their old stomping grounds, really, and maybe he could win it there, being he's like one of the longest tenured NXT guys ever. So.
And the place to debut, and you know who should come in at number 10 in the Rumble then? If they're not going to...
Who's that?
Because that's a guy everybody will want to boo when they're disappointed that Ty Dillinger didn't come out.
I didn't hear what you said. You cut out for a second.
Yeah, you cut out.
The Miz should be number 10.
Perfect. What great heat. He should even come in to, they should start Ty Dillinger's music, and then it should cut out and go, awesome! Nice. It would just go crazy. They blow the crap out of him. Anyway, okay, so moving on to the next one, we got Andrade Cien Almas against Roderick Strong in a match between two really good hands with zero buildup. This match was really, really good, but I wasn't surprised because these guys can wrestle. I just don't like it. Andrade Cien Almas, I guess, cut a promo basically where he said, Roderick Strong, I don't like you. And Roderick Strong cut a promo next week saying, I don't care if you don't like me. And now they're fighting, which is, a good reason as ever, I guess. What did you think of the match, Anna? And what do you think of the zero build?
Yeah, I was thinking it was NXT this past week where they had the backstage thing, and then Almas, I think, ran down Strong. And then I was like, wait, what? Did I miss a whole bunch of episodes or something? So it was, that in combination with I'm not as familiar with Rude, but by the end of that, I'm so on board. That it was a great match considering the lack of build-up. I think with Andrade, thank God for the gimmick change, and if they keep pushing in this direction, you can have probably not a top heel, but close to it. And there are a few spots. Someone posted a GIF of the slap, and I didn't even have to hear it. That was enough. It was a good match.
Jeff?
Oh, this was probably my favorite match of the night from front to back. I agree with you about the build, but what the build did was that audience was very quiet for this match, and I think it was because there was no build to it. But as a wrestling match and watching these two work, I absolutely loved this. I was more shocked that Roddy Strong over Cien Almas, because I think it was time to start rebuilding Almost to be something rather than I like Roddy. I think Roddy personally belongs on 205 Live, to be honest with you, rather than NXT, but that'll come, I think, eventually. But I think, look, you have La Sombra in your wheelhouse here. He's a major star. He can be a major star. He's finally finding some sort of heelish tendency for a character. Let's start building him as a star here. They need to go full Los Ingobernables with him now, because I just don't see what they do with him after this, to be honest with you. I think maybe they've given up on him. I hope not, but overall the match I thought was fantastic. At first I thought they were giving almost a squash match because they weren't giving Roddy any offense, and then all of a sudden it was just Roddy's turn, and he just put a bunch together and won the match. So, but overall, I really like this match a lot.
Yeah, the thing with Roddy Strong is it was his time in NXT has been a little weird. Like, he showed up as Austin Aries' buddy, his mystery partner for the Dusty Rhodes Classic, and then Aries took a kick to the face, and his eye became this big, and then Roddy kind of like got repackaged immediately into a baby face with no character. Like, he never didn't really do anything, or he wasn't, in no way was he like, did he change? Like, I've been behaving this way, but I've thought differently, and now I'm going to do this. That didn't happen. I do remember how this whole thing started, though, in that weird fatal four-way where Rude became number one contender. Strong eliminated Almas. Mm-hmm. Because they were, 4 guys in a match together. One's got to eliminate the other guy. Strong eliminated Almas. Almas took exception to that. Like, I think 6 weeks later in TV time, he cut that little promo, which then Strong answered. But what do you think about Strong as a babyface? Like, can they give him enough character for, if Ty doesn't do it, can he be the guy that goes after Rude? Like, what are they going to do with this guy?
I think he can. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Anna. Sorry.
I should have said.
They need to. That's exactly it. This just kind of, what have I learned about him from that match or from the past few weeks on NXT? Okay, he believes in himself. Cool. And he's great in ring, but there is nothing really else to go on. And I don't think I can answer that question until I actually see what they're going to give him or who the hell this guy is.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting for me to see him as fiery babyface because everything I know about him has always been cocky heel Roddy Strong. For the most part. So I think playing against type, I think he could do it. I caution against having 2 underdogs in a promotion at the same time and building them that way. He might just punch above his weight. We could always do that as a storyline as opposed to, because every time they get an underdog story, they find the need to beat him so that we don't believe he can actually win. And I don't think that's necessary right now. I think he'll be great. And I think he's probably going to get moved up the ladder here a bit, but as Rude, I don't think he's ready for Rude yet. I think he needs one step below Rude and then eventually get there.
Yeah, especially if they're going to start moving guys up. Like if Shinsuke goes up, Samoa Joe, I think we all think is going up tomorrow.
I think Joe's going up.
Ty goes up, all that kind of stuff. You got to have guys who step in. My thought originally was Cassius Ohno versus Shinsuke, but I don't know if Cassius Ohno versus Rude, if you're going to make Chris Hero the hero of the people, that might be interesting, but that's not what I would have expected.
You just said punching above his weight, and that gave me an idea for a gimmick. He could just try and hit on Eva Marie the whole time. That's something, right? I'm trying.
I like it. I think he should go after. I think he should be the playboy of. He should wear a smoking jacket and just try and be usually Hefner it up, like a little pencil mustache, something. Give me anything.
Downgrade if you have that.
Eva would have to convince Roddy that she has red hair because. Never mind, because when he's looking up, he probably couldn't see through the. Never mind. Let's go on.
Sorry, what was that?
Nothing.
Couldn't see through what?
Nothing.
Oh, okay.
Nothing.
So
our marriage is based on bad jokes, Anna. I'm sorry. It's
well, a lot of marriages are based on bad jokes. My marriage is based on bad jokes. So then we got our first championship match of the night. Versus you have DIY, their little acronym, versus what I like to call the Peeps. That is Paul Ellering's ethnic pseudo shield. And they came out wearing their weird black skull masks and then Day of
Lady Gaga
veils. Yeah, it was interesting. But the match turned out to be way better than I thought it was going to be, because Gargano and Ciampa can get great matches out of now officially everybody. Jeff, what did you think about this thing?
I think this is definitely the Authors of Pain best match that I've seen them do. I like to call them Headhunters Light a bit, but I think they did a very good job with what they did. I think maybe they were relying on a little bit too much on Gargano for the babyface fire to help fuel this match, but overall, I liked the match a lot. My broadcast partner, who will be here tomorrow for the Survivor Series, Rob, was the first one to give me that kind of inkling that maybe it's time to put the Authors of Pain on there, on the belts on them, because I thought there was no way. I thought it was too soon to do it, but now that TM61 is out, there might be a bit of a revival face run here to go up against the Authors of Pain. I just don't. Do they do the breakup now of Gargano and Ciampa possibly, or do they keep them as DIY? That's my main question coming out of this. But the match itself, I thought was pretty darn fantastic. I thought, yeah, you're right. DIY can do a match with anybody at this point. But I think the Authors of Pain really did a good job here. And that the company likes them because they're big and they want to see what they can do, especially, on top now. I thought that double pin breakup spot where he gets out of the armbar and slams him onto Ciampa was awesome. I liked that a lot.
Anna, your thoughts?
Do you think Gargano and Ciampa lost because when Tommaso was standing next to Paul Ellering, he thought he was looking into his future? That's just where I thought they were.
He may have been shook. I would say, definitely.
And so when he watches World Championship Wrestling on the network, that's past him. Also, it's like, oh my god.
Yes, yeah. Gargano, like the Tommaso Ciampa and Paul Ellering in the same arena, might be a time paradox. I'm not sure, because if you meet yourself in a different alternate timeline, everything can skew into this tangent, and now that's why we're living in alternate 2017, guys. I just figured it out.
The darkest timeline. It's the darkest timeline.
It's the darkest timeline.
And that was the moment when
it's all Paul Ellering's fault. I can't believe it.
And that was the moment when NXT became Lucha Underground.
Yeah, that's certainly possible. Anyway, I really, really, really love this match. One of the things that I hate about the cruiserweight division on the main roster is you will never see someone the size of Tommaso Ciampa go up against somebody the size of Akam or Razor.
Right.
So you'll never get a chance to see him German suplex a dude that size out of his shoes. Like, that is really impressive, and we'll never get to see that again, because anybody who's under 205 on the main roster, they're not even allowed to touch anybody who's much bigger than them. They never even interact with each other backstage. Like, there was one of the things I love about Neville comes out and it's like, I used to beat guys who were 300 pounds. So you little dudes are nothing to me. Like, that's a cool idea. But also, I would love to see Jack Gallagher go up against Jack Gallagher. Excuse me. Sean Ross Sapp would never let me do that. Jack Gallagher go up against a much bigger guy. And Ciampa proved that he can hang with anybody who's 280, 300 pounds. The double team stuff, like you were saying, the double submission move being too strong. The Ciampa's false finish after that double team neck breaker sitting power bomb thing, which just looked totally vicious. And the counter to DIY's running knees finish turning into the double power bomb. All of that stuff was set up so well. Really, I mean, the fact that Authors of Pain, they're like 24 years old. They're babies. Like, they can get a lot better. Like, before 23, 40, 24 years old. Before they get to the main roster, they have a chance to really improve. And my hope is that eventually we get to see a program between these guys, the heel version of this, and the absolute white meat babyface version of Two Hosses, which is Tucker Knight and Otis Dozovich, who go by the name of Heavy Machinery. Those guys apparently have been working great matches on the house show scene in Florida. I just love the idea of just two big guys doing it just because they love wrestling against these two guys who are just ethnic and they wear black and we're not sure what they're yelling, so they're scary. Like, I love that. That could be a cool little feud they would go together.
Yeah, I like a good Haas match. I like just 4 big guys just beating on each other and being physical and hopefully doing moonsaults. That's what I like.
I would pay good money to see Otis Dozovich attempt a moonsault in like a trampoline park. That would be fun. Anna, you were saying?
I do hope we get a slight run before Revival move up to main roster and take all the tag belts between them. Mainly also because the fact that they broke out of the submission that Revival tapped to in Toronto, I get it. They're much bigger, they're much stronger, but it pissed me off. Mm-hmm. The Revival, they're incredible. And I'm not going to turn this into a Revival gush, but if they can at least have a little program with them to even it out a bit or something, I'd be happy.
I do wonder whether or not Revival versus TM61 was slated to have that Andrade Almas Roddy Strong slot in this show before Thorne got injured. Because
I think they did.
Because keeping the Revival off of the show intentionally just doesn't make a lot of sense.
Right.
They're very over with the crowd, even though it's because they're such great heels. From what I understand, there's no plans to move them up imminently, which doesn't make any sense to me. But I do love the idea of like the heels who are great talkers against the 2 monsters who just shout things in Albanian. You know what I mean? Like, I love that as a thing that you can do where you can make people root for the Revival simply because it's no fun to root for the Authors of Pain.
Yeah, and the other thing, and the other thing that'll be fun is watching the 2 guys who work a body part going up against the 2 really big guys. I think that'll be cool. It's kind of like that comic book corollary when you get the B villains, kind of the geek villains, and then you get the real evil force that comes in, and you go, "Hey, we'll join the heroes on this one." I kind of always dig those types of programs of bad versus evil.
Yeah, I
can do that so well.
So now we come to the shocker of the night. This segment that Anna Bauert has proposed to, and we're waiting to hear back from the segment. But I have a feeling the segment is going to say yes. So why don't you take it from here, Anna, in your thoughts? Give us a little running diary of what was going on in your brain when this thing happened.
Well, sitting at my computer, nothing out of the ordinary in between matches. Next thing is, hear this voice on the TV. Sounds familiar, not too sure. Holy fuck! What the hell? What the hell? And then he called out Triple H. And the voice.
We should say the voice belonged to one Seth Rollins.
Yeah. Seth Rollins.
Who's not in NXT. This is a major crossover from the main roster back down. Very interesting.
No. We are looking at a very possible, definitely happening WrestleMania matchup with him and Triple H. Triple H came out and then sent out his cronies, and then Seth went Rambo on them and killed a bunch of guys. And I fell in love. I think that's what love is. No offense, Jeff.
I mean, if that's your competition, Jeff, I'm sorry. I don't think you're walking out of here with the girl.
All I know is that she's now wearing a first-time mom shirt, which is very weird because that's how much she loved it. So she had his baby.
It was magic.
I'm wearing my first-time dad shirt because my daughter was born on Thursday, and I'm working on about 10 hours of sleep in the past 60. So, but I'm here. Your boy is here.
There you go.
For you people. Okay, now moving back onto this Triple H and Seth Rollins segment.
I liked it a lot. Seth Rollins got the main event babyface one swear word to use to make him seem cool. I liked that. I wish it'd been a little bit more than just beating up security geeks. I think really that might be the one thing that was kind of a bit of a disappointment. Not that I wanted Hunter and him to have a knockdown drag out, but something a little bit more than the usual that you see on your standard Raw when a main event babyface does something like this.
I have
wish,
no problem with it because I think tomorrow we're going to get the payoff.
Right. What I kind of wish is that the payoff had been alluded to on mic in this segment, and Triple H said, "Tomorrow," and that's all. That's all it is. That's all we get. The crowd would have gone mental. It to know that, like, oh my God, we're gonna get something between these two, like physically, and he would not even bring out security. Just have him come out in his suit. Just say that one word, mental, tomorrow, and then he leaves. And Seth's like, okay, fine, I'll see you tomorrow, and everyone would go nuts. But I loved this crossover. I love this. Is like we've all been saying, hey, Seth, you should probably just show up at an NXT taping because that's where Triple H is all the time, especially if somebody becomes new champs. I mean, I'm sure he posed with Authors of Pain. He could have just hung out with the photographer and waited for him to show up.
Yeah, that would have been something else also in that Seth is stopping this NXT show. Perhaps someone from NXT should come out there and a heel possibly and just attack Seth for holding up their brand because he's a glory hound from the main roster.
Yeah, it would have been interesting if they had built any kind of a monster-ish heel that he could have dispatched
Joe?
with.
Joe?
Yeah.
Could Joe have come out here?
Because the whole thing is, I don't want to see Joe end up on the losing end of a brawl with Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins has to win that. He has to win that confrontation, unless it's with 15 Performance Center kids. Then it's just that damned numbers game again. So, but yeah,
Could have sent out the Revival.
I guess well, that's the thing. I wouldn't want that because the Revival are going to each take a pedigree. And you and I don't want that, Anna. We want those boys protected.
Revival are my favorite tag team. What are you talking about that you two would be the only people?
Well, no, we've exchanged things back and forth. We're both, I did not realize that you had such an affinity. We all three then would have been very, very upset.
Scott Dawson retweets my tweets. What are you talking
There you go. You've got an in. See, Anna, Jeff knows Scott Dawson peripherally.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Come back to Jeff. Come back to Hawkins, Anna. There you
This
go.
is not how you win over a wife, by leveraging someone else.
Look, look. I know how to get a wife. You buy them. That's what you do. Oh wait, sorry.
That's sometimes how it works. So
Wow, so much information just exchanged.
I know it's very weird. Continue.
Moving on to the women's fatal four-way, which had a lot of potential to be all kinds of amazing because you had this unbeatable champion in a match where she doesn't have to get pinned to lose, versus two best friends who are going to work together, who have a style all their own, and versus like the Tasmanian Devil. So that's a lot of fun, and a lot of different things can happen, and a lot of different things did happen. But the thing that I want to say before we get started and talking about the whole match is the one-piece swimwear attire that Billy and Peyton were rocking made me feel like they were going to an aquatic aerobics class or something at the Y. It was maybe I liked Peyton's little cutout so you can see your belly button for some reason. But the match, I really enjoyed. Nikki Cross has so much potential, and I want to see a one-on-one match with her and Asuka so bad. I want to see a triple threat between her and Asuka and Ember Moon so bad. I like Billy and Peyton, but I don't want them anywhere near this level of the women's division. Anna, your thoughts about your Australian compatriots?
They have definitely grown on me over the past few months. There was one point where I looked at my screen and saw both the Australians and Asuka in the ring and thought, oh shit, we've gone back to the 80s. That's awesome. It's just so colorful. This is the one match on the card that I really did not want the belt to change hands. Mainly because I think they can get so much out of Nikki Cross Asuka matches. With this as well, I'm wondering why they put in the Australians, and there could, I don't know, possibly be a team up of Asuka and Nikki Cross against them for a while. That would be really awesome. But still, like, there was so many awesome things in this, like the Shield table thing and the double German suplex. But still part. Do not interrupt. Hi, Sean.
Run in. What's up, you guys? I'm taking this over.
Well, here he is, everybody. Sean Ross Sapp.
Can you all see me? I hope not.
We can't see you. No.
Good. I look miserable. What did you all think of the show? Wait, don't answer that. I was there. It was a great show.
Oh, you're the worst.
It was a great show. Anna will be jealous. I saw Bobby Roode's ass in person.
Oh, man.
It was bedazzled. It was glorious. It was everything you could have imagined it was. I thought the women's match over-delivered. I thought Authors of Pain over-delivered. I thought Roderick Strong and Andrade Almas gave some nice promise to NXT. And congratulations to Alex, by the way. This is the first time I've spoken to him via audio since the birth of his child.
Thank you very much, sir. Your congratulations are much appreciated.
What kind of shitty canned response is that? Did you write that beforehand?
I did not. No.
I wrote it for him.
That makes a lot of sense.
I'm running on very little sleep, so I have not a lot of impromptu speech making skills at this point. That part of my brain shut off a while ago.
Okay, I turned on my video. I couldn't keep the fans from it. So I want to know, just in like maybe 10 words or less, individually, what you guys thought of the show before I head off. Alex.
I think what you said was very true. It over-delivered. This was the first show that I looked at the card and said, how are they going to make this work? And they did. They more than made it work. And I really, really enjoyed it and was not expecting to love it as much as I did.
Anna.
Every takeover solidifies why NXT is my favorite brand. And this just kept that going. I'm in love. So in love.
Jeffrey.
Also thought it over-delivered and not anything outstanding, but everything was very, very good.
I also went to Evolve today. Boy, that was something.
I heard.
Man, Matt Riddle
at least Chris Hero didn't fall out of the ring this time.
Yeah, that was cool. He did pedigree Zack Sabre, which got about a 1 count. That was a fun little jab at the WWE, I thought. Matt Riddle hit a Fisherman's Buster through about, I think, 8 chairs that were stacked up. We had a guy who jumped off a 15-foot pole onto a bunch of people. It was great. Matt Riddle was seen in a Fightful.com shirt on Flow Slam, which you guys can get at ProWrestlingTees.com/Sean Ross Sapp. But yeah, when I'm back, I'll have plenty to talk about. Hopefully I can join tomorrow night. I don't know how likely it is that I'll be back in the hotel room within an hour of the Royal Rumble. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And maybe I'll do a show next week since we're not doing a post-UFC Denver show. I'll do something, or maybe I'll answer. I don't know. I'll do something. But Alex is off rocking babies to sleep.
Yep.
And I'm flying on planes that never land where they're supposed to land.
Yeah. How was Birmingham, by the way?
Yeah. You want to know why I was in Birmingham? You want to know the story about why I was in Birmingham?
Regale us.
They delay us. They put us on a plane for an hour, and they go, shitter's broke. Can't take you to Houston. Now, that is not the exact terminology in which they use. But the commode was broken. And apparently FAA rules, I suppose, prohibit you from flying a certain amount of time where the shitter is broke. So they flew us to Birmingham, which is only an hour and a half away from Lexington via flight. Boarded us on a new plane, then sent us to Houston, and I missed my flight. And luckily, United got me on a new flight, and I got here last night. Not in time to see the ring break 74 times at Evolve, but...
Hey, I got a quick question about the show, Sean. Was the audience as quiet during that Cien Almas Roddy Strong match as it came off on TV?
At the beginning, yeah.
Okay.
At the beginning it was, and during parts of Rude and Nakamura they were, because I think maybe they had been seeing such ridiculous shit happening throughout the night. I mean, anybody who says that they expected that out of Peyton Royce and Billy Kay are probably lying.
No.
So it was kind of, and the Seth Rollins thing, that was nuts. There were many pants dampened over that segment. Like that was very good. I did not regret going.
It made Anna Bauer pregnant. That segment
made Anna Bauer pregnant.
It did.
Yeah.
Hey,
It's a fact.
Hey, does that get you in America? Does that count?
Hey,
baby.
It's possible. I mean, it was a segment that originated in America, an American segment. So
wait a second, Alex.
yeah.
There you go.
Alex, when did you do the prison break? When did you get out?
Oh, this is just my living room. I didn't feel like going down to the basement tonight.
No, I see what's up.
My wife
had a kid, and now you put family photos and all these little family sayings behind you.
That's right. I've gone soft.
Could you imagine? Guys, I hope you'll have a good rest of the show.
All right.
Thanks.
See you, Sean.
Catch you guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so back before we were so rudely interrupted.
All right, we never need him on our show again.
Oh my God,
You know.
yeah, that guy's gone.
What an anchor.
There were a couple things I wanted to point out about this Fatal 4-Way. One, I really did enjoy the idea of Nikki just laying waste to Asuka with some neck breakers that just looked awful, just really, really, really stiff and disgusting. Like that's good wrestling. Asuka sold the hell out of it. She's lying. She's as worked over as I've ever seen her by a girl who's basically half her size. Nikki looked great in this thing. Then she said, "You know what? I'm not satisfied with that. I'm going to take on both of you tall bitches at once." And she beat him up the ramp, and she was taking him out one at a time. She was going to jump off the announce table onto one of them. And then they double team her, and they do the vertical suplex through a second table that has no reason for being there except for that spot. It was the Spanish announce table that wasn't really a Spanish announce table. And it sounded like it was made out of cardboard when she hit it. It went like, that was very, very cute. I liked it. I liked all of that. Then there was a point where Billy and Peyton got back in the ring, and they pulled Asuka in, and Peyton covered Asuka, and Billy put pressure on the back of Peyton to get the pin. If all it was Billy or Peyton trying to win, why didn't, after they got rid of Nikki, just go into the ring together, Billy lay down, and Peyton pin her? If that was the whole point, and either of them could pin each other to become champion, and all they want is for one of them to become champion, that break in logic nearly ruined the match for me. Until Asuka made a comeback and then, won the way she did.
Alex, I thought the same thing. I really did at first, but then someone on Twitter explained to me and gave a really good logical explanation that either one, they're dumb and they didn't think of it, which might be a good one. But the other one was, hold on. Well, let me give you the second one because it makes much more sense. It would put a schism in their friendship if one of them pinned the other, where they couldn't necessarily both be champion because they'd always have that pinfall looming over them, so to speak. I mean, look, I get it. It's such a contrived thing, though, at times that at one point the friends will turn on each other in the midst of a match. I'm kind of glad, even though in your scenario, they're working together, that they didn't go to that. There was something nice about that. There was something nice and straight ahead and refreshing about that. And now for my thoughts on the 4-way, because I'm just running in here because both of y'all have gone.
Go ahead.
I am also of the opinion that Peyton and Billy were the weak links in this match going in, and they over-delivered. I thought they were really, really great in carrying the story of this match. That said, give me Nikki and Asuka best of 23 right now. With various stipulations attached, like barbed wire and exploding bombs and whatever, because I loved these two interaction. I want that more than Ember Moon. I want those two WrestleMania weekend to just stiff each other for about 20 minutes. That that German suplex spot with Asuka and Nikki. Oh man, that is what I want in my wrestling. I want some violence, and I want Asuka doing it. That's that's why. And look, I love the table spot. I love the jumping bomb Australians. Something fierce. They're they're one of my favorite acts. They were great on the pre-show all night, accepting awards for people that weren't there just so that they could take the awards because there was a mistake in the voting. I think they're very, very good heels. I want the talent to continue to in both. They both have something. They're just not quite ready for prime time, but they're very, very close. I mean, they're much better than, say, Liv Morgan.
Oh my God, yes.
Or Aaliyah or whatever. But
right.
They're both very, very good heels, and I love their kick spots, especially on the promo video. I think they both have a certain type of viciousness in their mean girls gimmick that helps the gimmick a lot. That makes it better than, say, when Summer Rae was doing the same thing.
Right.
And that's exactly why they couldn't do the double. Well, one of them taking the pin thing, because it's too soon for them to be split up like that.
Well, that's the whole thing. Is I honestly thought they were going to do a thing where Billy turned on Peyton. I'm glad they didn't do that. I thought if Billy's fine with Peyton becoming champ, then just let her pin you, and then you can celebrate together. Like whatever. Then
you have like a Regina Gretchen kind of thing going, and it's not what
possible.
this is.
You could do that if you wanted to do that.
Mean Girls, Chef.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Stop trying to make fetch happen. It's never going to happen.
I'm old. I was trying to remember the reference.
So here's what I'm thinking. If you ever plan to bring Asuka up, she has to lose the title. Like, you're fully brought up to the main roster. This was a match in which she did not have to be pinned to lose the title.
Right.
This was the perfect opportunity to get the belt off her while keeping her undefeated, which I think would be a cool thing, that she could go up to the main roster having never lost in NXT. That would be a cool thing that they could do. But again, I'm love the idea of Nikki and Asuka having matches, or I'm still waiting for my Ember Moon versus Asuka match somewhere down the line. Or Ember Moon versus Nikki. Let's have that as a number one contenders match. But if you're ever going to have Asuka lose the belt, it might be interesting to have her not get pinned to have to lose it.
I agree.
That was just my only thought there.
Yeah.
Now we get to the match of the dueling entrances. This is a good point. This is a good time to bring up something that happened on the pre-show, where Corey Graves said this is his last time calling a match in NXT, and Nigel McGuinness from the UK tournament is taking over for him. I am going to miss Corey Graves in NXT so much. He was a major, at least 15 to 20% of what I love about NXT is Corey Graves telling Tom Phillips to shut up. It's so good. It's so perfectly timed. But now he's got this cool interplay he does with Percy Watson, where Watson says, "Why does Bobby have to come to the ring with 8 women?" And Graves comes perfectly with, "If you ever been around 8 women, you'd know why, Percy." He's very, very good at what he does, and I'm going to miss the hell out of Corey Graves. Jeff Hawkins, what will you miss most about the Corey Graves era?
Yeah, no, I think Corey has and especially with Tom Phillips. I'm not sure if he did with, say, Rich Brennan or not, but I think their interplay. Look, I'm not a big Tom Phillips fan at all, but I think Corey is a perfect foil for him. I only wish he could take Percy Watson with him as his last NXT broadcast, because I can't stand him. But I think Nigel McGuinness will be very, very good as well.
Anna?
I just started rewatching the earliest NXTs that they have on the network, and it is just, he adds something, exponential to it that I'm gonna miss him so much. I mean, it's not like he's leaving, but
yeah, no. The only other color guy that's been any good on NXT was when William Regal was doing it.
Yep.
because they had Matt Bloom, who wasn't very good at it. Renee Young did it for a while. She wasn't very good at it. Corey Graves added the spark that was needed there.
Yeah, Corey Graves is so good. He plays both face and heel as the commentator on episodes of Raw, because on 205 Live, he's the babyface color guy, and Austin Aries is the heel. So when they bring Aries on for those 2 cruiserweight matches a night on Raw, then he switches over and goes from being the heel for every other match on Raw to being the babyface color commentator for 205 Live for the cruiserweight matches. And he does it like that. He's incredibly talented, and he's still really young, and he's got a long way to go. He's here forever.
And I think there's credit that has to go to 2 guys here as well. Number one, Michael Cole, for helping him along, because he produces the announcers there and there. And probably an underrated one, just because, he wasn't the best color guy in the world, but he was the guy that they first had to work off of, and that's Alex Riley, who was down there at NXT doing color at the same time as Corey Graves, and, was a stalwart there in the announce booth when Corey Graves was starting.
Yeah. So let's get to the entrance of Rude with the aforementioned models, who I'm sure had no idea what the hell they were getting into when they answered that call from their agent, which was great. Him and his bedazzled ring robe, great, but nothing that can hold a candle to Shinsuke Nakamura coming out on a WrestleMania 3 cart going down the ring with strobe lights pointed at him and giving everyone epileptic fits. This is great. They keep topping themselves. You can have as many violin players as you want, but if you make me think both of Andre the Giant on a cart going through the Silverdome and that awesome episode of The Simpsons where they go to Japan and they watch anime and they all go on the floor. I loved it. And the match delivered as well. Jeff, what were your thoughts on the entrances and the match that followed?
The Bobby Roode entrance was straight out of Ric Flair 1989. When he was doing the Steamboat matches, and he'd come down with the 7 women, and then Ricky Steamboat would come down with his wife and kid. I liked that a lot. The match itself, in the preview I did over at Voices, I said about Bobby Roode that he's the guy you look at, and if you were a singer, he's the guy who's technically good. He hits the right notes at the same time, but he's missing something. It's almost like he's kind of missing soul when he sings. It's kind of like watching a theme park show where they do all the hits, but it's not really all that emotional or whatnot. And I said what was missing in him was a certain kind of viciousness that main event heels and main event players have always had in professional wrestling, because my go-to is always Jim Crockett Promotions, NWA, late 80s, early 90s, like Flair and the Andersons, and that's why I love the Revival so much. This match was vicious Bobby Roode, and Anna and I both agreed on that. I think we both love this new kind of more vicious Bobby Roode. The match itself was very, very good, I thought. Up until the medical part. I don't like this. I thought it killed the momentum of the match in a way. It told a story, yes, but they've been doing this way too much for my taste. Let him persevere through the injury and possibly fail. That's a better story than having the referee and the medical guy come in and check on him to make sure he can still continue to go. Back in the day, getting hurt in wrestling was part of the storyline. There was a chance if you got in that ring, you got hurt. This is a little bit too sports entertainment for me. But I really, really liked this match a lot. I liked the ending, and I'm interested to see what Bobby Roode can do as a champion.
Anna?
I agree, but I do like what it did for Bobby Roode by having that medical part, because that just ramped everything up. Like getting Shinsuke into the crab lock and then punching his knee was just another level for me. That was awesome.
That was great.
I think they needed that to be able to sell that. But for Bobby's entrance, I legitimately had trouble breathing. I was laughing so hard. He tonight just ramped it up that one notch higher, and I'm in a very loving mood tonight. I love him. I love Shinsuke. This match was glorious. It was awesome. I do agree. I think the medical stuff slowed it up. They could have cut that down, not made as big a deal about it. It was just vicious. It was amazing.
Yeah, I agree. Vicious Rude is my jam. I like what he does. When you were saying that it reminded you, the entrance reminded you of Flair, his style reminds me of Flair, because Flair wasn't spectacular in the ring. He was technically proficient and really, 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 really great, but he didn't do like fancy moves and stuff.
No. All he did, if you watch those Steamboat Flair matches, they're nothing but chops and just beating on a guy for about 20 minutes until the other guy would beat on him for a while.
Yeah, he's a showman, and that is what Rude can be. But he does. I love Rude's Spinebuster, all this stuff. The thing that I loved that was so great, it was even too great. He got set up for the Kinshasa. And as we all know, what happens is you've been hit by the reverse exploder, and then you stagger to your feet, and then you get a running knee to the temple. And Rude just refused to get up.
That was great.
He just said, I'm not getting up. And if I don't get up, you can't do anything to me. So you have to come over. I'm going to play possum. And then I'm going to, I don't know, thumb to the eye or whatever. Like, it's so smart. It makes all other wrestlers look brain dead. Why don't you, like, so many moves require you to stagger to your feet. Just don't do that. Take the pass and stay on the ground.
That was right out of the Ric Flair dirtiest player in the game playbook, too.
Exactly. Yeah.
So to speak. All he needed was a Flair flop. He would have been doing a total Ric Flair tribute act in this.
Then I love that he put his feet on the ropes, and the ref was made to look smart and actually saw it. I think Danilo, I think is his name, Amphibio, in NXT, he might be the most protected ref in all of the company. Like, he doesn't stand for that crap. Like, none of that stuff ever gets by him. He's smart. I think that guy needs a promotion. The knee selling was interesting. A lot of it is, because the spot where he injured it was believable. But again, all of his stuff that he attacks with is knee based. So it was nice to see him hit the Kinshasa and not being able to continue because he aggravated his knee. Then the other thing that I didn't like was that the finish of the match had nothing to do with the knee. It was just a DDT twice. I would have loved if he had forced Shinsuke to tap out to the half crab, because have him hit the DDT and the guy kick out, then put the half crab on him and beat on the knee until he can't take it anymore. That is such an elementary move that Rude could have won with, but it's the smart way to go. Like, that guy's knee is hurt. Just tear it out of its socket until he can't go anymore.
Yeah, two things. The one thing, when after the playing possum spot, when Shinsuke got up and started getting offense on him, that was really, really vicious. I was looking and going, that's the kind of stuff I want to see Rude do too. Just kind of kick a guy in the face occasionally, just because he can, because he's a jerk. The other thing was when Matt Bloom came out, I half expected it to not be a submission finish, but for Bloom to call for the bell because Shinsuke was just in too much pain and he refused to tap out. Mm-hmm. Either that, or I was hoping it wouldn't be a screw job finish. That's the one thing I was worried about when I saw Matt Bloom out there was, oh no, we're getting another one where the company is picking champions and things of that nature. I'm glad they withheld that, but I was almost certain after that didn't come to fruition, when they could, I thought that they were going to do the thing where Shinsuke just was so brave he didn't tap out, so the company just looked out for his better interest. I liked your idea of it not being the DDT.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things of, I really love the way he does that implant DDT, and I love the way that Shinsuke took it both times, but it has nothing to do with what the body part you've been working over, and I always like to see that finish into the match. I mean, but this is nitpicking, because this was a much better match than I expected out of these two, because again, it was just Bobby Roode wanted a tournament, and now he's the contender. There was no fire between them. Like I felt like Shinsuke and Samoa Joe had been going on forever, and all the time there was more things added to it. So by the time they finished it, like they hated each other. And this was just, a guy got a shot at a match, which is fine, but that wasn't there. So I guess my next question is, what do you think they do now? Is Shinsuke coming up, or are they building this to a rematch at Mania? Because I prefer the Dillinger scenario. I prefer that I pitched before, but everyone gets a rematch, and it feels kind of weird for them to do it on an episode of NXT taped at Full Sail. Jeff?
Oh, I was going to go with Anna because she hadn't spoken.
No, please. Anna, yes, sorry.
Thank you, husband.
I'm a good husband. I listen.
I'll just retrace it a little bit. The moment Shinsuke did the first kick to Rude's, wherever it was on his leg, I knew that, okay, this is going to be an awesome match. So the lack of build-up, surprisingly, because normally I'm all about story, didn't get to me as much. In terms of what comes next, I don't know how you can debut Nakamura at Rumble after that.
Yeah.
That is the only, and I'm also not sure how the larger audience will take him. They're my only reservations. Otherwise, it's a no-brainer that he goes up. What else are they waiting for?
Right. So if you wanted to look ahead to the Bobby Roode championship reign, do you think he keeps it for 6 months more or less? Jeff?
I hope so.
Oh, sorry. Anna, finish your thought.
Sorry. I hope so. And if it's a case of him versus Dillinger again, because I feel like they didn't really finish that storyline, I'd be all for this going for a very long time.
Jeff?
In a day where managers ruled wrestling, I could see either Asuka or Shinsuke getting brought up. In what Vince sees in people, I have concerns that they may never bring either of them up. I think they may be NXT lifers, to be honest with you, because they don't have to cut the lengthy promos live on national TV. You have room for editing. You have room for them not necessarily knowing English and doing retakes and things of that nature. They're great wrestlers, but Vince isn't necessarily looking for great wrestlers for his product. He's looking for great personalities, and I think they may be down there for a while. Bobby Roode, I think, has the belt for a while until probably until Ono gets through the Shinsuke program. So they'll probably try and find someone as a transition, and this may be Roddy. This may be Roddy and Roode going at each other. Until then, I don't know where they go with him. I don't know if they I don't think it's going to be a year-long run, but it might be a good 6 months.
Yeah, you figure that they have these takeovers at all the big fours. So the next one's at Mania, the one after that is SummerSlam, and one after that is Survivor Series. And you figure that Rude's not going to lose the title except at one of those. So, does it? SummerSlam seems right to me. But we'll see. Unless, of course, they go with my idea and have Dillinger. I think they should just have Dillinger. You're talking about NXT lifers. Dillinger could easily, have a great program with Roode and finally take the belt off of him and have that, have a long career there where he's a beloved babyface champion for a while, and he might never actually really get up there because his ceiling in NXT is absolutely NXT champion, and his ceiling on the main roster is nowhere near that. So maybe because I love the guy so much, I'd rather see him come out, 4 times a year to crowds of 10,000 people and get adored than have him show up in the middle of the second hour of Raw one week and nobody care.
Look, I agree with you. I agree with you completely because, I'm of the opinion that Bayley was $1 million property, and right now she's not. So if you can imagine them blowing that, imagine what they do with a guy like Dillinger.
I would set something on fire. Not to Dillinger.
Yeah.
I love him.
I'd like Asuka to kick Bobby Roode's head off and take the men's title and just take on
Well, somebody
everybody
was
in
saying
NXT.
that instead of Dillinger coming out at 10, it should be Asuka, and she should just lay waste to everybody in the ring.
Or Nikki Cross. I'll take Nikki Cross there too.
I'll take her too. So that is NXT Takeover San Antonio for the Rumble. The next one is at Mania. I want each of you to tell me who challenges for the titles at that takeover in your fantasy booked world before we move on and head out for the night. Jeff?
Oh crap!
Again, this is the longest build that they have is between Mania and the SummerSlam one. That's a good long build. This is only 2 months, so that's like 2 tapings.
Yeah, I think the tag team title match will probably be a 3-way between DIY, the Revival, and Authors of Pain. I think they're just going to go straight ahead with the women's match being Ember Moon versus Asuka. And I think it'll probably be... Oh, man. It may be... You know what? Let's do this. Bobby Roode versus Hideo Itami at Mania.
Interesting. Anna?
Revival and anyone. I don't care for the tag team. Revival and Asuka, or Revival and Nikki Cross, and Revival and Bobby Roode, or Revival and Dillinger. Bobby Roode and Dillinger.
No, Revival versus everybody. That's fine with me too.
I'm sorry. Now I want to see Revival versus Asuka and Nikki Cross. I think that'd be a great match. I think it all.
Honestly,
I love the Revival, but they are dead for that.
Yeah, if put this thing I love about the Revival is that especially Dawson, but also Dash, are legitimately underrated performers in the ring.
Yes,
and so they've been brutal heel champs, in this division. I would love to see them like transition against somebody like the Authors of Pain to chicken shit heels, because they could do that really well. Cowardly stuff. They could sell that really well, especially in a 3-way, as you said, Jeff, between them and DIY.
You know what? It's going to be a 4-way. They're going to put Sanity in there.
I agree. That was actually what I thought was there going to be a 4 corners match. DIY, Authors of Pain, Sanity, Damo and not Damo, Dane now. Killian Dane and
Killian
Wolf,
Dane and Alexander Wolf
versus the Revival. I think that would be really, really fun. That could be a hot fire match. I don't care if it's not going to happen. I want it. I want Tyler Dillinger going over Bobby Roode in Orlando, where everyone really loves the guy and watched him grow. Like the Full Sail faithful will all be in that stadium for Orlando Takeover, and I want them all to witness it. And then, I'm hoping for a triple threat between Asuka, Nikki Cross, and Ember Moon, because those 3 together could do some really, really great stuff. That also, you have a chance to have Ember Moon hit her finisher on Asuka and just think she's going to take it before Nikki Cross breaks up the pinfall on a 2.5 count, which would then, allow that thing, because Ember Moon, basically, because they've given her 0 character development, is just an amazing finisher. And a cat. That's what she is as well. I'm going to put my cat down.
They had her wearing the red contacts during the pre-show. It was a bit.
That's just her natural eye color, Jeff. I'm surprised. She's a werewolf, and all werewolves have red eyes, and they wear those cool Assassin's Creed hoods. She's a werewolf assassin, and I love her, and I want them to give her a build into Mania. All right, guys. So that was NXT TakeOver San Antonio. And tomorrow we have the Royalist of Rumbles, where anything can happen. Jeff will be back here with me for that tomorrow night, along with Rob McCarran. Jeff, what do you have to tell the people about all them things you're doing over them? Shake them ropes.
Oh well, we'll be here tomorrow, so we can
That's
tell
good.
you all about it then. I mean,
Good,
we have
fine.
nothing. We have nothing else going on for the next 24 hours. Let's put it that way.
In case they wanted to check out your stuff between now and
there
then.
we go. You can follow Rob and the show at Shake Them Ropes, all one word. You can follow me on Twitter at CrapGame13. Mostly drivel and bad jokes, and me hoping that Anna will either retweet or like.
Anna, where can they find you? And your amazingly funny, most ridiculous stuff that you do.
At Anna Bauert, it's BAUERT. That's on Twitter and Instagram, and Annabout1 on Facebook. And we have a new episode going up tomorrow before the Rumble, before it becomes redundant. And luckily enough, featuring me marrying matches. So it's all very fitting, really.
She's turned Mormon.
Yeah, well, just yeah. Yes, great.
Just when it comes to this stuff.
Everybody, check out Fightful Wrestle at Fightful Wrestle. That's all our wrestling stuff now is on Twitter. At Fightful Online for the whole shebang. At Fightful MMA if you're an MMA person. If you are and you've been watching this thing, maybe you took a wrong turn somewhere, but that's fine. We love to have you. Follow me at Pawlowski the Fourth, PAWLOWSKI. THE, the numeral 4TH. I'm going to change that handle soon, so I don't have to spell this thing. I mean, I
make it just Alex something, for God's sake.
I probably could. Alex Pawlowski somehow is a taken handle, and it has been since 2008 when I joined this son of a bitch. The person who has it has tweeted 4 times. I don't. Oh, anyway. Until next time, guys. We are out.